Hussein Zahawy was born in 1980 into a Kurdish Muslim family in Iran. He spent his early childhood in Iran, but at the age of 10 moved to the UK. Coming from a musical background, he was taught the daf, or Kurdish frame drum, by his grandfather. At the age of 13, he was invited to join the first national radio and television orchestra of Kurdish music in Europe.
I never could say I had a specific tuition where I studied with a specific teacher or went to a music college. This is in the beginning. I mean, the instrument was always in my family. It was always I was surrounded with drums. So I was always leaning to this. And then when I was young, I used to tap on tables and doors. My two elder brothers, they play the daf and they play drums, percussion. Of course, they were influenced. They were a very early influence in my career. But then, I just continually, followed it myself. I was very passionate about music. I mean, so every time I used to come home from school, I used to just go to my room and practice.
As he grew up, with the support of his parents, Hussein has pursued his interests in other Kurdish and world percussion instruments.
I think drums is, especially the daf, is a very, I could probably define it as the national Kurdish instrument. And if there are, sometimes we associate instruments to a particular nation or a culture, and the daf is something very much sacred in the Kurdish culture, both urban and rural. And even though people don't play it, but it's always somewhere in their houses. And we do have, if we look at the Kurdish culture in terms of rhythm, there are two main genres where the rhythms derive. One, the sacred aspect, all these, the khanaqah, where all these different rhythms are played on the daf, and they all have names. And the other genre is the dance. Is where each dance, the dancing, because dancing is so important in Kurdish culture, and every single dance has a specific rhythm and a name. So for the drummer, in order to be able to play and to accompany the dancers, he needs to know the actual rhythms.
Hussein has performed extensively around the world, both as a soloist and accompanying other groups and ensembles. He has collaborated with Greek, Turkish, Arabic and Indian musicians, as well as Kurdish. This year, Hussein has been working with choreographers in London to create 2 dance projects.
That's a bit close to you. Sorry.
Would you take a break? Yeah.
It's more based on improvisation, and the thing I like about Hussein is the space and the rhythm, and the rhythms that we create with the movement and the rhythm of the drum. So it's very much improvisational, and it's like a conversation between us.
Hussein's Middle Eastern rhythms complement the dancer's movements.
Okay.
I think he's very in tune with how the body moves, and this I think creates something that's quite unique and different at the same time. and I'm quite interested in the fusion of different art forms. So, I mean, I was trained in contemporary, but I also have martial arts and capoeira, and I like to play with these styles. And it's nice to have the rhythm of the drum that's very sporadic, and it also, it brings out different styles and rhythms and, spontaneity.
After completing school, Hussein went on to study A-levels in music, English and English literature. He then went on to the School of Oriental and African Studies in London, where he studied for a degree in ethnomusicology.
I taught Hussein in my Music of Central Asia course, which was very nice because he has a lot of personal experience of music in Iran, and so we found a lot of shared ground there. Hussein was one of the really outstanding musicians in our department, with his huge, great daf, the big frame drum. He played with all sorts of groups, traditional music and more kind of experimental stuff, and he used to stun the other students. He did quite a lot of teaching for us as well.
Hussein holds regular workshops on Kurdish music and percussion across Europe.
He's a fine musician. We can't take any credit for that at SOAS. He came to us as a skilled musician, and I suppose we tried to instill in him some kind of more sort of academic understanding of what he already did naturally so well. And so it's great that he's gone on to really now be founding a career as a professional musician. It's very exciting when our students come back and tell us what they've been doing like that. We do have quite a few students like Hussein who come to us as musicians, do some academic study and then go on to have quite good careers in world music.
Hussein describes his drumming technique.
Then the right hand plays two main strokes, dum, the bass, attack. So if I was playing a rhythm, and then you get more of the gentle finger. Just playing just with your top tips of your fingers. So.
Hussein has recently recorded an album of percussion compositions that will be released in the UK next month.
In a very vast geography. I've performed with a lot of artists, many variety of artists, different kind of genres, from different traditions of Middle East, playing with Arabic musicians, Turkish, Kurdish, Persian, Greek, Mediterranean, jazz, all sorts of different festivals around the world, and it's been amazing because I think music has given me a different perspective of life, and to perform to a variety of audiences. I mean, to perform from Sudan to New York, from New York to Korea, from Korea to London, and different reactions of audiences, and they're people, and then it's nice to do something which people are being touched in some way.
Hussein has also worked on several TV programs and documentaries on Kurdish music and played on the soundtrack of the Hollywood movie Kingdom of Heaven in 2005. He says his goal is to play music for the sake of love, peace and harmony, because music is an important thing that unites people. He also aims through his music and playing style to keep alive the cultural traditions of the Kurdish people.